Hello and welcome back to our Medieval Total War campaign as the French in Glorious Achievements mode. We are at 1350 AD, and we're sitting quite pretty, if I do say so myself. We have all of our homelands and a few more. Let's take a look at our empire, which we've just carved out, and are hoping in this episode to hold on to. So this is what we have in terms of our core territories, I guess you could say. We've expanded a bit into Spain. Navarre and Aragon are both ours, and these are going to be nice troop production facilities, and Valencia too, just because why not? All around us here, we've got the papacy, who is our ally, so that's basically protecting our south and west flank from our Spanish enemies, who are only in Portugal and Grenada. Now, Portugal, yeah, very high taxes, 122% loyalty. We've got a spy in there just to see what he can do, but I'm not expecting great things. The Spanish may break out against the papacy here, but honestly, I think the Pope is probably going to win in the long term. In our eastern flank, things are a little more tense. We've got definitely a stronger presence of Spanish over here, 3 stacks, as well as their king. Now, this king in particular, Pedro I, is the only king of the Spanish, and he apparently has no heir, so he's the only person of royal blood, apparently. The game is not always 100% accurate with that, so it could be that there is some former brother or cousin of some other king that has royal blood but is not directly in line, but we'll see. It could be that the Spanish faction is going to just be wiped out naturally in the next couple of turns. The English are also our enemy, and they have a pretty strong presence in Lorraine, which is annoying, because from Lorraine they can hit Burgundy, Ile-de-France, Champagne, and Flanders. They also have pretty strong dominance in the northern seas. We've got, let's see, we've got 1 ship in the English Channel right now, and we will, well, actually we're training spies at the moment, but we can get some more ships up there, and we're slowly working them around into the Atlantic Ocean, or we can here. We've got some cogs, I believe, yeah. So we can get our presence over into the west and then up to the north. That's, I think, what I want to work on. We want to contest the English for these waters to make it harder for them to move armies around, send reinforcements, and of course attack me. My king is at Flanders, King Philippe III, 59 years old, and next in line, Prince Louis, only 36. He's married. He's got quite good stats. Check out this acumen. It has been a long time, right? His father, where's his father again? Let's go back to him. Yeah, acumen of 2, whereas Prince Louis has an acumen of, I guess that's 9. He's also got some quite good traits: master of numbers, most eloquent, helping that piety and that acumen. This is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful, and it's been a very long time since we've had some good kings. And I expect his influence to be quite good as well. This brings us, though, to this sort of our 3rd theater, or maybe it's our 2nd theater, right? Because we've got the continent there, and then we've got all of this. So we've got Constantinople, Crete, Cyprus, and then Egypt up to Antioch. We've got Arabia, but we don't have Syria or Edessa. Now, strategically, this doesn't make sense. We should take this, and probably Edessa too, because it's got good trade goods. And then we would have just 3 fronts with the English instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. Practically, I don't want to turn this into a conquest game. So I'm okay with having a little bit of risk over here. These are not my homelands anyway, and it's just, I like to play this way. We are basically playing as the French, who have somehow managed to hold on to their conquests in the Holy Land throughout this entire period. And I don't want to just turn into the conqueror of the East. We have Constantinople because that's a little historical too, although by this time I'm pretty sure the Byzantines had taken it back. And we've got Crete. I may consider expanding into some of these other islands if this opens up, but what I'm hoping to see is maybe in this episode or the next we'll have an Italian reemergence. There's also the potential that if the Spanish are eliminated, we could see the Almohads, maybe the Aragonese reemerge if some of these places were ever under their control. So with all that said, I think we're just going to end the year. The goal for the next little while is to basically hold, to get our subterfuge agents in place, to get ships in place, to disrupt the English, and see if we can encourage a civil war among them. They're currently sending a crusade somewhere. In fact, I'm not sure if that's a brand new one. We will be told. But the English are not excommunicated at the moment. great. This is a defensive victory in the English Channel. We lose here. We're getting some rebellion in Armenia. This is pretty typical. Okay, Prince Philippe, we've got another heir. And another daughter. Alright, Prince Philippe is a hedonist, so that's not great. Hopefully he's not the man who is next in line, but Lord Marcel, man of honor, my gosh. Alright, this is my good general in Burgundy. So this is a guy we want to hold on to. He's just a unit of Royal Knights from a long time ago. But let's check out our goals. So this is updated because now we're in another sort of chunk of time. Last turn was 1350, so that was when we got credit for our homelands, and now we're getting a new, a new period. 1375 will be the next count. At that point, we are going to be ahead of the English, I think. So we're going to be just great. We're in second place right now. And so as long as we don't lose any territory to the English, we should be good. We want to keep up the building, and we want to think about things like this. I was hoping to see Lorraine show up on my homelands here, because then that would give me a nice casus belli to attack it. It's kind of fun playing the game like that instead of just conquering every place that you want to have. It's just, because this isn't a Crusader Kings game or anything, right? This is not a Paradox game, and so there's nothing preventing you from just blitzing, but one of the ways to make it more challenging is to give yourself some restraints. One day, what I would love to do is a extremely strict Glorious Achievements campaign. That's always kind of the goal in my mind when I play up. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start up a campaign, and I'm going to play Glorious Achievements, and I'm going to only take those provinces which are on my homelands or on my other goals. It never quite works out that way, but one day I will do an extremely strict Glorious Achievements campaign, probably as the Byzantines, actually. That would be a lot of fun because they do not get any new goals. So you could start in the early period and say, I am simply playing defense. I'm only going to be, holding on to my homelands. And over time, that homelands list is going to get smaller and smaller. So you really... Although the Byzantines start off in an excellent position in early, if they lose territory and then that lost territory goes off their homelands list, if you're playing strict GA, then refusing to take it back would be quite fun, I think. Okay, so we're losing money now because of our trade problems. The Spanish attacked us in the last episode, which means we're not trading with, Portugal, Grenada, North Africa. I'm not too worried about that. We could maybe try peace with them. In fact, let's try again. I think we've tried already. Let's just try a ceasefire. That would probably right things anyway. We did lose a ship here, which is very annoying. But we are training ships all the time, so here are a couple of carracks or caravels. Yeah, and we'll just move you over. And here's another one. I guess we can put 2 here in the Straits of Gibraltar. And, yep, we've got some more in the Eastern Mediterranean. This is a cog. Great, we'll just have to remember to move that. But that's going to be the goal here. We're just going to go cogs. And let's go ships. We've got a bunch of troops there. All right, that's certainly overkill. But we've got like 1 million. Yeah, we've got over 1 million florins in the bank. Let's take a look at this rebellion in Armenia. It looks quite good, really. We got some longbowmen, 2 full units. Get some billmen. Pavi's arbalesters and the regular arbalesters too. Gosh, these arbalesters look just like absolute chads, don't they? I mean, like just the Pavis, just the stance, the helmet, the big chonky arbalest. Looks fantastic. Okay, so are they going to win? Maybe short term, but long term, the English are going to be throwing more stuff at them. So I don't imagine the rebels are going to hold it. Last episode, we did get a very interesting Egyptian reemergence that lasted a single year. So, it would be great if something like that were to materialize in a more permanent way. But here's a crusade headed towards Wallachia. which is here. So the Golden Horde is an ally of mine, but I'm not really in a position to help them at this point. And again, I don't want to attack Greece or Bulgaria for the same reasons we mentioned with regard to capturing more territory in the Holy Land. All right, let's see, Champagne. I think what I want to focus here, while we're kind of running low on funds, is economy. So that's trade buildings in any province that, you know, that can trade them. Let's get a ship over here. We want to have more fleets in this part of the world, and this will get us cogs in Brittany. So let's do that. I mean, obviously we're not building, you know, trading that much at this point, but the idea is we will. I guess we could go farms. No, the AI does a very good job of upgrading farms for you. Maybe what I ought to do is build a port just for troop transport purposes. And yeah, let's go with a county militia to have a secondary place to build gendarmes in case they are really not worth it. We're going to do that in Ile-de-France too, but Flanders may as well have them. I've never used that unit before. So let's go with that. And in Toulouse, let's see, we are making a little bit of cash trading here. It's quite low though because Toulouse only has silk, and a lot of places, you know, along the route also have silk, like Naples, Sicily, I think. We could go for farming. Let's do that. All right, the Pope's moving into Grenada. Good for him. All right, we do have Inquisitors. This is a Papal Inquisitor, and they are killing some of our generals. Okay, yeah, Spanish are not doing great. Good, we won in the English Channel. And another rebellion in Wessex. Oh, that's unfortunate. That was mine. And this is also unfortunate. This is the Holy Roman Emperor, so killed in battle. Geez, I don't know who he was fighting. Probably the English, because he was up around here, but maybe the Polish. So that's it for them, at least for the foreseeable future. Okay, the English are planning to attack the Golden Horde. That's pretty obvious. They've got a crusade right there. All right, we've got a ceasefire with the Spanish. Nice. So, let's take a look. Is this still Pedro? Yeah, 66. All right. Let's move some chivalric knights into, I guess, Burgundy. And we've got, yeah, very low taxes in Wessex, but they can't quite hold it. And this is not a great rebel force, but, you know. All right, 3 stars, 3 stars. These are some good spies. The problem is, I think all these other places have border forts. Let's just go check Scotland again, because I know that that is a rebellious province in general. Alright, it looks like these guys may have attacked but failed. It's hard to tell with a crusade, because sometimes they suck up just a bunch of pieces of units. But they may have struck and failed to take, because they are outnumbered, actually. If the crusade hits Wallachia, they can't outnumber them. They could send forces from Bulgaria, but maybe they're hesitant to attack because of me. Okay, so how's our money doing? 4,000. Great. So yeah, just having the ability to trade with the Spanish once again counts for a lot. And down here, all right, we can go into the Atlantic Ocean. Let's go up to the Bay of Biscay. We do have a couple of ports here, both of which can export, and it would be nice to connect those to a trade route. But at least they can; those ships can act as sort of defensive. What we can do is get another ship up here to trade with the northern Spanish coast. So yeah, we can start to move one of you. There we go. We can at least trade with Leon from Brittany and Aquitaine. Leon doesn't have any... Well, it does have wool. Okay, but Brittany has linen, and Aquitaine has wine, so they can both be traded with Leon. And if we ever get this cleared out, we can get all of our Flanders stuff down there, too. You know, eventually, we want to get our trade network back in place. So, yeah, let's do a ship. I feel like the army here is pretty good. Let's go with more ships in the Sea of Crete. And we don't really have anything that we can do with this crusade marker other than attack our allies, the Golden Horde, or, well, the Spanish are back in the Pope's good graces. Such an interesting campaign, though. Like, I rarely see the Pope get this big, and maybe it's just because I don't play usually into the late period, unless I'm starting at a later point. Alright, Spanish getting Tuscany back. And we lose one of those ships. Okay, so check it out. Spanish king has died from an illness. His heir has taken over command of the Spanish. That's actually good, I think, because at this point the Spanish are, of course, neutral to me, so we're trading with them. And they're acting as a check on the papacy. So, in my view, this is at least a little more interesting than just all of Central Europe being that tapioca color. So, I'm happy with that. The papacy are planning to attack the Spanish. Great. Okay, Provence, let's do that, and then get a castle going. We've got the funds again to start putting money in things. Well, we are building in a lot of places, which is great. Except Navarre. Yeah, let's go to very high, and you know, I could get another place, probably Spanish Jeunesse, right? Because I think this is available. They're available at, I think, a pretty low level of stable. So let's try it out. Horse Farmer, and then we'll go up to the next one if I can remember. Egypt. This is going to be mostly a port, I guess. And probably we should go to the Master Merchant, yeah. 1,400 florins. The rebellion in Armenia, once again, seems to have been crushed almost instantly. But that English Crusade is not moving, so I think they're having trouble. Alright. Another rebellion in Wessex. And we've got the largest military. Alright, Reims Sparse. Francesco Petrarca. Oh, Petrarch, okay. Born in Arezzo, Italy. Since that time he has traveled widely, been well educated, and enjoyed the good life. This has not stopped him from becoming a poet of distinction, all inspired by the beauty of one woman whom he calls Laura in his works. These distracting poems cause at least minus 10% zeal in much of northern Italy. Yeah, again, I wish there was a bit more of a potential benefit to some events. Plus or minus zeal seems like pretty small potatoes. We've got another son, and okay. Well, now let me just double check. Yeah, it's still Louis. Okay. We had a, I guess Philippe, who recently came of age, and I wanted to make sure that he was actually not the heir apparent, and that is true. So here we can move caravels. Yeah, I think these are caravels. Let's go here. We can maybe claim the Atlantic Ocean. Get another ship out of the gate in Brittany. Beautiful. And we can go claim Flanders. Yeah, let's get another caravel. We're just going to try to work up there. Okay, I think I'm going to go with all of my caravels over here. Oh, this is a bark, right? Well, whatever. I guess we could go up here to trade with Portugal, at least down from the south. And actually, if we have the Straits of Gibraltar, then we are trading, or we could theoretically be trading with all these places, right? If we have the Atlantic Ocean and then the Straits of Gibraltar, we don't need to get around all of Spain. I've got to check out that new Spanish king as well to see, you know, is he a guy who just miraculously appeared, 16 years old or whatever, just in the nick of time? Or is he some older other relative? Whoa, okay. So this rebellion actually, at least temporarily, took. And if I've got a boat here, they can't reinforce Wessex. They could bring guys down from Mercia, or maybe from, you know, Ireland, or maybe they could reinforce it by going around the Irish Sea. All right, John Wycliffe. Okay, his words are tempting many to heresy in Wessex, Mercia, Northumbria. Awesome. That is, I don't know how awesome that is, actually. There's 15% heresy. What does that mean? You know, like, there's less Catholicism. It's not actually unrest. That's a little bit of a bummer, in my view. We got 19% here. Okay, Scotland is untouched. Scotland does indeed have border forts, sadly. All right, got to remember that. Let's go to Northumbria. But yeah, I wish this had more of an impact. I don't think it really matters. Obviously, the income, or sorry, the loyalty in Wessex is, now that it's a rebel province, is just going to be stuck at 100. Here in Mercia, though, there's no garrison, and it is 168. So even with all of this heresy, I think there's a border fort in here, so that's doing it. But let's get a ship. Let's go right over to the Irish Sea. I know that's going to hurt me in terms of trade income, but I think it's a better move because the English will be hurt more, theoretically. So we'll move, move another caravel up there. We're just claiming these ocean regions, these sea regions. Actually, we'll do this and move both of you over here. We got to do this weird leapfrog thing. Yeah, we'll move 2 into the Atlantic. Looks like Wallachia is still in the hands of the Golden Horde. So there is some really good potential here if things line up just right. If that crusade fails, if the English do lose Wessex, you know, their king is going to be losing some influence. Awesome. Yes. Please emerge, Switzerland. So this is maybe just the first beginnings of that? I don't know. The richest. Awesome. The Italians reappear. Beautiful. So they're only appearing in Sardinia. That means, though, that they could theoretically invade to Corsica. Great. All right. Now, if I can find the English king, I think he's somewhere up in, like, northern Germany. Well, let's move right here. Yeah, they move back in. Move just enough men over with Lord Grey. But still very low taxes, very low loyalty in Wessex, and Wales looks pretty ripe as well. We'll keep both of these guys here. It's such a shame about Mercia. There's border forts there for sure. just like there are up here in Northumbria, so we can't... Reliably, we can't get a spy in there. I could theoretically try bribing. Let's just try a couple of, you know, a couple of spies that I don't really care about. And yeah, we've got to find a new governor of Flanders, actually. Alright, somebody with some good acumen. 4 is alright, but I'm pretty sure we've got some better candidates around here. Maybe a former crusade leader and a former prince. He's already a lord. Or your Duke of Egypt. You know, where we do have a bunch of chivalric knights, though, is down here. Sir Henry Mulclerc. Yeah, that's okay. That's only 4 acumen. There we go. Gaston de Vendôme. Humanist perversion. Okay. Let's give it to him. And let's once again move a cog over. Also got to keep our eye on the Black Sea, at least a little bit, because the English do have sort of a presence there. And here we'll go up to the North Sea and claim that with a caravel. Alright, let's do, yep, some more boats. We can actually recruit them in Normandy, which is kind of funny. There's no port there. Oh, no, I guess there is. But regardless, it doesn't matter if somehow the port got destroyed. Of course, you can continue to build ships if you have the shipbuilding facilities. Yeah, so we can get Spanish Jeannettes here. So let's get them going with some weapon upgrades. And, yeah, Toulouse will go for a market, I suppose. And Aquitaine. Yeah, Merchants Guild. Nice. Alright, so this is King Louis now. And the King of England has died. Alright, so there's another opportunity. Yeah, we lost our spy in Scotland, and I assume we're going to lose the spy in Mercia too. No. Alright, that's very, very risky, but okay, we found the English king. 26-year-old Edmund III. He's got 5 influence, very pious, good commander, and doesn't have the best acumen, but is at least a somewhat astute mathematician. So what we can do is try to isolate this guy. Let's move over here, and let's move. Do we need to move to Scotland? No. Let's leave a couple of ships in Flanders for now. It's 1 command. It's 2 ships with 1 command. Let's try them both. This seems to always fail, but let's try it anyway. If we can start to really just eliminate these ships, obviously that'd be a good thing. Now, they've got Wessex in much better shape with even just 92 men, but I think we'll keep the spy there. And we're just going to start just flooding them with ships. So we actually do have another caravel to move. Let's move him to the English Channel in case, I guess, you know, in case both of those ships that we're sending to attack, if both of those get sunk. Alright, so the king did get to move down to Friesland. Okay, so he's not stuck on the islands anymore. Alright, so we no longer have a presence in the Irish Sea, but we did take one and lose one in the English Channel. Alright, another Swiss rebellion. And we lost our spy in Mercia. Alright. Well, let's check out our new king, actually. This shouldn't be any big surprise. His influence is okay. Acumen's great. We'll keep him right there. And, yeah, making almost 12,000 a turn, so pretty good. All right, keep those together. I like this. We've got a pretty solid presence in the North Sea and the English Channel. Let's go there again. And I mean, just to make sure we didn't suddenly get some new goals, we would, I'm sure this would be flashing if we did. Very tempted to hit Friesland here, just to check him out of it and take it. So I'd like to get this, but I'm sure he's going to move. And anyway, we've got Lorraine to kind of worry about. Let's go down here because actually we can trade now with Tunisia, I'm sure. Alright, Flanders now should be able to train gendarmes, I think. Or it should be getting close. Those are pikemen. Okay, no, we need like a master swordsmith, I think. Okay, but whatever. This improves the valor, I think, of the pikemen that we can train. So, you know, maybe that's something we could think about. Good attack, good defense. You know, it might be kind of fun to have a bunch of pikemen up here. Let's maybe hold off. We'll get armor and we'll get all that stuff in place, and then if we want to go that route, we can. All right, we're going to try to be a little more aggressive. That's just one caravel, 2-to-1, 3-to-1 here, and we've got 2 more we can throw into. Yeah, let's throw them into the North Sea. Okay, do I really need to start paying attention to this? Alright, pretty good. 1-to-1. And we lost 4 ships. I don't even know how we I don't even think we had 4 ships here. It's completely unreasonable. But this is a very big rebellion in Armenia. Not that it's going to matter, unfortunately. Okay, the Garments of Christ. Alright, Bamberg. So, Franconia gets more zeal. Alright, now this is just ridiculous. We lost 4 ships down here. Let's move down to reinforce. I think maybe they attacked one that we had moved in at the same time that we attacked them. That's all I can think of, because I think we attacked them with 3 ships and then moved 1 in. So somehow, you know, they all got killed. At some point, we're going to end up shuffling some cogs up there. It's not something I'm really paying a ton of attention to, but it'll just happen naturally. We're going to pick up a ship and then surprisingly find, oh great, a cog. All right, let's go here, Norwegian Sea. There's a little port there in Norway. I think that's held by the papacy. Okay, one more year and we can get cogs out of Crete. So I think I'll wait for that. Alright, another one. So they actually beat that first one, which looked so impressive. But they've got another one to worry about in Armenia. Okay, good. Builder, so plus 10 happiness in all provinces. And we've got a couple of Sir Gawains, which is interesting for the French. Seems like that shouldn't be a name that we get in our list. So let's see. Yeah, another good-looking army. This one's got some feudal knights even. I mean, it's a lot of archers, but... And they got 4 stars. Let's see how they do. But this is just dwindling away. 376 men, so I don't think they're going to get that. Which means that their king is going to suffer a little bit. Maybe 1, maybe 2 points of influence. But I guess they must have moved some spies in. Although this, I mean, if we could get something to happen here. This is the only time that I sort of wish agents could destroy buildings. Like, typically, I find that a bit cheesy, right? In Rome Total War. I do it all the time, don't get me wrong. But when you send, like, an assassin in and he just, you know, demolishes a building, or if you get, like, 4 assassins around a settlement just, you know, in a single turn, damaging 4 different buildings, that can be very, very hard for the AI to keep up with. What I would use it for here is to destroy those border forts so that I could then get spies in. Nice. Alright. Okay, that's fine, but it doesn't really help me that the Spanish are excommunicated. It would be great if it was the English. If they were excommunicated, I might then say, okay, I'm going to do a crusade to Lorraine. But that's down to 71 again. And Scotland is just on the edge. 101% loyalty. So maybe something could happen. Let's see. They didn't lose the crusade yet, but it's not long for the world. Okay, let's do this. We've got, let's see, 2 buildings. I just want to make sure that Ile-de-France has, yeah, easily more. Very good. So we've got the Master Swordsmith, I believe, and County Militia, which is the next building above this, will get us our gendarmes. Alright, again, it seems like you win more naval battles when you don't try, so that's fine. We've got a Prince Louis. Now I need to check, actually. Hard Sums, Natural Leader. Nice. 3 command is okay. Let's see. Yep, so he's the heir, 16 years old. So he's got to be the actual heir. Like, he's got to be the son of this guy, right? Because all these other guys were our brothers, and they're older. So that means Prince John is going to be not the heir apparent. So we can work on getting this guy married. Let's see about a maybe an Italian wife, maybe a Spanish wife. Where's our emissaries? All right, we've got one right here in Switzerland. So, like, it's just so disappointing about the rebellions here. I could try Tyrolia again, too. Let's get you over here. Let's try bribing. And only because I want to weaken them and maybe allow for a rebellion. I think Tyrolia can rebel, and that can help. That can maybe be another place where the Swiss emerge. All right, nice. Catholic bandits. This is not going to last. All right, there you go. I'll bring up another ship to support. All right, yes. So gendarmes here. Let's go with that. And then I think we'll do some of these buildings in Ile-de-France just to make sure that we continue keeping this as the most built-up province that we own. All right, the king is now down in Franconia. Crusade is down to 259 men. Did the Golden Horde just get wiped out? No, there's just, oh, a very unfortunate civil war. That's what it looks like. So a couple of provinces just turned rebel. Because they exist in Wallachia. It looks like that's where their faction leader is. Alright, St. Vitus's dance. Okay, you have more funds at your disposal, but the army is increased value. I'll raise it to the advised amount. And too loyal. We will just try again. Let's see this. It doesn't say civil war, but it's definitely a civil war. So that's very sad. Here's the Khan down in Wallachia, completely isolated, I imagine. I think this is probably Pope or Polish. Polish, yeah. So the English could just swoop in here and take this territory. So I think Pomerania, I think when last we checked, Pomerania was held by the English, and I think it had a border fort. So, you know, I don't really care to spend the time trying to sneak in there. This has only a watchtower. So does Bohemia. So what about Poland? You know, if we could get into, like, let's see what Austria has. Like, maybe what I'm hoping though is that, like, some of these places will not have a border fort, so I can get up here. And if the English are, you know, expanding into them, that might be a good place to start a rebellion / re-emergence if the Horde gets really eliminated. It looks like England lost Scotland, actually, though. And another big rebellion in Wessex and Wales. Oh, that's great. This is a civil war? I don't think it's a civil war. That is awesome. Alright, too loyal, so that bribery in Tyrolia is not succeeding. But we do have a wife for our Prince Louis. Okay, Lithuania. It's got a border fort. Alright, what about Livonia? And that's really my only other option. We've got them pretty well, like, kind of surrounded here. We do have a ship in the North Sea, or two. So we'll bring some more over. And they can just keep training things. But this is helpful. You know, having this, this, and this means they just can't move troops through. So that's doing something. It's not having the totally stranglehold kind of impact that I was hoping. But okay, so these are probably not going to work out. I mean, this is only 2 Royal Knights, but still, they're probably going to beat those Pavese crossbowmen. All right, so they lose Wales. But they also lost Wessex. And at this, I think they tried to fight. Okay. So we've got a lot of ships up here in the North Sea to prevent them from getting reinforcements through here. They don't have any presence down here in the English Channel. So maybe it's time to move up and... Oh, this guy's got 4 stars. Let's just move up there for now. We'll contest it. And let's see. Okay, so 5 more turns before we get our gendarmes there. Yeah, let's go swordsmith and let's start working up that line. How's this army looking? Probably pretty good. I think we might want a few more of these guys. Let's get some arbalests and let's get another cav unit. We're making 13,000 a turn, so that's no problem to support. Get a bunch of Spanish Chunettes. And let's move a cog up here too. Okay, we lost 1 ship. Oh, there is a reemergence here. Look at this. 3 stacks. Beautiful. All right. Yes, the Germans reappear. They're only appearing in Switzerland. So it's a little weird. I wish it was the Swiss instead. But the Swiss would be a problem for me too. And maybe the Germans will be a problem. All right, great. Let's take a closer look at what they've brought. Okay. A lot of ranged stuff, some cav. They got some pikemen here with a 3-star general, a 4-star terrifying general, feudal knights, some Teutonic sergeants. They've got some good stuff here. These are some Swiss halberdiers, a very strong unit. The king, of course, has, you know, very little going on. But I'm happy about this. We've got something moving here. So he's going to have to fight the rebels. He's going to have to fight the English. Where is the king? All right, still got 5 influence. And maybe it's a few more turns before that crusade finally dies. Well, let's start to move some of these guys, if I have any left. Let's get some... Yeah, let's get a good army up here. I'm a little nervous about this. So hopefully the Germans will be, you know, distracted with the English. They'll be fighting the English, and they'll want to ally with me. And we can help them, you know, chew up Central Europe. Because what I could do, if I don't want to attack and keep things, is I could just attack with them and then just withdraw from the battle. Alright, so my spy in Switzerland tells me that the English are going to attack me year after next. Alright, we'll see. And another heir. Great builder for our king. Prince John is secret blackmailer, which doesn't have any effects currently. And he also has a killer instinct. Alright, let's get the heir apparent. Let's move him someplace slightly more safe. Do we want to put him here? Let's put him down in Anjou. We've got another prince. We've got a few princes around here, which is good. Princess, though, can go to Bavaria, and another one can go to... yeah, let's go to Saxony. So this is actually great. I mean, the English have lost Scotland. It's going to take forever for them to actually lose it. But just 47 spearmen. They've lost Wales. This, again, will be under siege forever. And at least 8 years of a siege in Wessex. But, I mean, this is not good for them, just to lose that territory. And the armies in Ireland are stuck there. We are kind of making life difficult for them in the North Sea. Let's try a couple of attacks. Yeah, let's try one stack there. Let's try two, because we've got a bunch of ships coming up for reinforcements. Yeah, so they're at least be in the neighborhood. Same thing here, they can move down. Alright, we'll get a cog up there. That'll actually be nice. Alright, we actually have another princess. Maybe she can go to Pomerania. I'd like to get, we can get a couple more ships that I can spare over here. If we get rid of this ship, I can start really thinking about trade and just getting a naval network towards the Baltic. Alright, we lost a general. Yeah, we lost 2 ships there. But one of them did it, alright? We lost 1 ship, and we killed his 4-star caravel, so that's great. Oh, that was a very short-lived rule here. Good thing we got that other guy married. It's the other Lewis, I think, who's taken over. Oh, wow. It is so rare to that I get to this point. Some of this art is just very new to me. Mystic visions. From the age of 6, Catherine of Siena saw guardian angels protecting people. She has continued to have visions of our Lord, Mary, and the saints ever since. Few match her piety, self-instructed theology, and support for the Pope, and she is an inspiration to many in the true church, her support granting influence to the Pope. Okay, so this is just for the papacy. Interesting. Let's check out our family tree at this moment. We don't have any heirs on the horizon or, kicking around. So this is our king, Louis the IX, 23 years old. He is married, and he is young enough that I'm not too worried about this as long as we get a son in the next couple of years here. Great acumen. Influence will track upward because we've got all of our homelands, and so I think over time in a Glorious Achievements campaign, if you've got your homelands, you are going to see your influence just grow naturally. All right, but we've gotten rid of that annoying English ship. Let's go over here to the Baltic with you, to Skagerrak with you, and we can start trading with the Danes. And, maybe there's some friendly people over here, but very unfortunately, Livonia, with relatively low loyalty, has a border fort, so we cannot exploit it. Pomerania does, I'm quite certain. But what's interesting is, speaking of not exploiting things, the English have not moved on this rebel presence of Golden Horde. Now, I think these units are kind of terrifying to people because of, what's going on down here. The English maybe could have taken this had they acted early enough when the crusade was large and supported with some of these guys from Bulgaria. I think they might have been able to do it, but these cavalry units are quite strong. All right, another cog. I guess we can go to the North Atlantic. But that's pretty much all of them covered. We've got a few gaps down here where there's no port, here where there's no port, and here where there's no port. That is it, apart from you know, the Atlantic coast, which I don't think we're going to feel the need to invade Spain, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, once we get those ships over, we'll have every place covered that I really want covered. And it looks like Armenian rebels have actually kicked out the English. We'll see if they can hold on to it. They are getting counter-invaded. Alright, the Papacy are attacking the Spanish. So we didn't get attacked by the English. Great, there's our first son. Let's check this out. Still got 5 influence despite losing Wessex and Scotland. Okay, so they got Wales back, but look at this low loyalty. 33%. In very low taxes. And so I don't know exactly how they did this. They may have come out, like sallied out, because this is just one guy. Which interestingly means that theoretically I could assassinate him and just remove this unit. Let's try it. We've got an assassin right there. We can get another one in Flanders. And here, one more season or one more turn for gendarmes. So we might get another rebellion here in Wales. Pomerania does have a border fort, as always. Let's go to Poland. Yeah, let's go there, and Carpathia. We'll just have visuals on both of those. I guess I don't need a bishop like in either of these places. But there's Novgorod, so they've somehow still survived fairly well. Let's go to Smolensk and see what that looks like. There's pretty good border fort coverage all around the steppes, though, if I remember correctly. All right, we did it. And this guy is, was this the 6-star guy? He probably was. That's why this was such high odds. That's awesome. So now there's nobody in Wales. This was just one general, one guy with no one in his bodyguard unit. So that piece is off the board. That is beautiful. If we had invaded that turn, we would be able to take this without a fight. Now, possibly they would have moved some guys over, right? But, I mean, this is not that out of reach as a strategy for eliminating some of these tiny stacks. Because, like, what's this? Okay, this is kind of a lot of guys, but this is 13 men. So I could just get a few assassins over here and just start whittling them down if I wasn't worried about losing them to border forts. Alright, so there's nobody there. That got rid of a pretty decent general, I guess. Oh, and we trained a bunch of bishops, too, for some reason. Let's get them over into the steppe just for visibility. I think Ryazan and maybe Volga, Bulgaria. That should probably be all the coverage I need. But yeah, these are still sitting around. So Poland is stuck in Carpathia. And they are allied with the Golden Horde and the Papacy. So they've survived despite having an English neighbor right to their north. No border forts here. There's a decent-sized army, but I might be able to break it. Or, you know, to sort of cause a rebellion, because there's not a ton of them. If I could only get in someplace. Austria's got a border fort. Bavaria does. Franconia does. Yeah, it's not looking good. Saxony does. Well, the Germans are there. They're only in Switzerland, and they are at war with the English. So let's try for an alliance. And then maybe I'll move my spy out. Let's bring him down to Tyrolia, and let's try bribery again. 82,000. Again, this is just in order to maybe make it more likely for the Germans to invade. Or I could try doing this. You know, getting rid of some of their units, some of their stacks. Not because I want them, but because I want to just find a little bit of a crack. Alright, that looks substantial. There are some really good English generals around here, but this is I think a 3-star general and a 4-star general for the rebels. Very nice. Another rebellion in Wales. And we get a successful bribe. Awesome, Tyrolia. So that'll be next year. And we lost a spy in Armenia. Oh, that's so sad. Alright, we've got an alliance with the Germans. Got another daughter coming along. Okay, so next year we have this army. We don't have it now. You can see it's flashing. We can't actually do anything with it. The army is in the process of changing allegiance and is not available to command this year. Next year, we can just move him back to Burgundy. That is going to make it harder for the English to control Tyrolia in terms of public order. Let's move a spy. I guess let's leave him here, right? Like, it doesn't actually help, but we may as well. What we might do is just try to screw up their general's loyalty. This is a pretty good general, 4 stars. This guy has none. But hurting their general's loyalty by throwing spies at them can be kind of effective. I think you have to do it a lot, like a lot of things in this game. It takes, you know, a substantial investment for it to really pay off. Okay, you go to the Atlantic, and yeah, we've got everything covered, really. I guess we'll have you here, and we can probably stop with the ships at this point. We will have some appearing, maybe? Or no, we got all of them. Alright, that's probably fine. We can bring some back if we get a problem with English navies over here. Let's see what this army looks like. Okay, it looks kind of bad. Well, how about this? We can maybe get my my emissary. Maybe he can do some damage up here in Swabia. Man of honor. Yeah, 100% to cost of bribe. Most honest. Okay, that doesn't affect bribery, but it kind of does because loyalty does play a role. All right, but anyway, let's see what that would cost. 60,000. I'm happy to do it. Alright, Scandal. So this was our spying result. So Pride. He had, in other words, the secret Pride vice. And when we used spies on him, they uncovered that secret vice. So now it is no longer secret Pride, which has actually no effects. It is Pride, which has several effects. So -2 command, -2 acumen, +3 valor. So this is actually kind of cool. We could potentially try bribing him now, but this basically hurts the command of the stack. All right, so no more hidden vices in that guy. The English lose Wales again, and we are invading Tyrolia. But what we're actually going to do... Oh, I can't call off the attack, huh? All right, let's auto-calc it, because this is not an attack that I really planned to fight. And the idea of fighting these guys on the slopes doesn't really resonate with me. But there we go. I'm not going to pay ransom. Oh, wow, okay. Smolensk was owned by the Golden Horde, I guess. So now there's a rebellion. Alright, so our attack of Tyrolia failed. However, you know, they lost some men, right? That cost us money rather than men to hurt them. So where is my emissary? He's in Burgundy? Okay, I don't know why he's going there to try to bribe a unit that's... Oh, it's in Lorraine. They moved into Lorraine. Alright, well, that's weird. Yeah, let's cancel that, and let's try to bribe this guy instead. 52,000. I want to try to keep it in Swabia so that we can encourage the Germans to move out. All right, but this is good. They've lost Wales. Let's see if that's one of their homelands at this point. Yeah, it is. That's worth 2 points. So next year we're going to get counted again, and we should easily leap over them. Alright, so we're going to just raise the offer, and it's probably going to fail. Oh, we lost a spy in Portugal. Alright. We got 19 points for that. Let's see how we are doing. 163. So that's great. The English have been thoroughly humbled. Now, they're probably going to get Wales back, maybe Wessex back as well. But they're going to have a hard time getting any reinforcements over here. They are basically now a Central Europe and, like, steppe/Anatolian power. It's very weird, but the English are mostly now over in the east. And their homelands are looking very, very bad. So how long is this going to take now? More than 9 years for Scotland to fall. Let's see, we've got 7 men up here. Alright, that would not actually help the rebels. That would just encourage disloyalty or uncover secret vices. But what we might try... So my emissary is in Swabia. Okay, yes. Could we bribe these guys? Yeah. So we could like do this. But London's going to fall in 2 years. This is going to fall, you know, maybe at some point. I don't know that it really matters, though. The English could move back over to Wales, like with some of these forces, maybe, and take it back. Or maybe they sally out. I imagine they would lose. So I'm feeling pretty good about this, that these are eventually going to fall. And the same thing with Scotland, although... They might be able to take it back even with just what they have in Northumbria. But it's very telling that the English are not training any troops over here, and they seem to just be shuffling things around. I think they're out of money. It's a shame that their king is not suffering influence loss for losing those homelands, but, you know, I think he's got enough conquest and just territories in general that it's not hurting him too bad. But this crusade, 19 men... a little while, and that's going to be another loss of influence. Not enough to drive him into a civil war, I suspect. All right, again, I'm just ignoring these inquisitions. All right, John Ball. A foul heretic given to preaching many errors and scandals against king and church, and no good will come to his immortal soul. His attacks on the privileged, wealthy, and positioned are not to be tolerated. They stir up the simple and lowly to foolish rebellions. Wessex is now a hotbed of heresy and disloyalty. Okay. Got another daughter coming of age. And let's check out our goals. All right, we get a very interesting one here. Genoa appears in our homelands list. All right, so our work is not done. We are not allied with the Spanish. The Spanish are excommunicated, and we've got Genoa as a homeland goal for us. That is fascinating. So the Spanish have a very strong presence in Milan, and what this is going to require is me to get a bunch of guys in Provence as well as in Genoa to hold off from like any direction that they may lash out, because I don't want to take Milan really. But that's fascinating. So Genoa is another silk producing region. It's got a somewhat middling level of development. It at least has a port, and it's got trade infrastructure already. So this is very interesting. The Spanish, that's kind of their strongest point, I guess, up around Milan, northern Italy. I mean, this is looking fairly weak. They get a bit of a good presence in Greece, too, actually. But if we go to war with Spain, that'll make things interesting again. So for now, we're holding out against the English. I was hoping to see Lorraine show up. I think it will, but it'll probably show up much closer to the end of the game. But yeah, we can open up a new front now, and I'm feeling pretty good about this because the papacy is not close by. So although they could move some units in, we can get there before they do, I think. So we're going to do that in the next episode. Unfortunately, the English have not been broken. We have seen some decent results, though. The Golden Horde is a shadow of its former self, still in Wallachia. And in fact, that crusade is now gone from Hungary. So the English, let's check out their king. Is this him? He was in Poland. All right, he lost one influence, one crown of influence. Now he's got 4. He's 45 years old. So this is not, yeah, there's just too much good loyalty among the generals of the English. So unfortunately, we're not going to see a civil war. But this is good. We are gradually whittling away at them in these small ways. They're not expanding. They seem to be kind of stuck. And we can continue to work things against them here. Let's move our spy back up in Armenia. And in the next episode, now that we basically command the seas, we can attack Genoa and move troops basically at will from anywhere. So we can move a bunch of knights from Valencia, Jeannettes from Aragon, just forces from Aquitaine, whatever we want. We can have them there in a turn, or maybe 2 if they're inland. And then we'll have another war opened up with the Spanish. This is a part of French history that I'm not super familiar with, the kind of later medieval wars that they get involved with in northern Italy. So if you know anything about that, I'd be a little curious, because I'm going to forget to research it on my own. I know there are some like custom battles or campaigns in this game, in Medieval Total War, where you can play as, I think, the French attacking into Italy. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But anyway, we can do that here and replicate it. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Hope you will stick around for the next episode. Take care until then.